to this is that I believe that there has been contact made. There have been some sort of discussions had behind the scenes whereby Rangers have been made aware that this deal is on the table and it's there to be done. I think there's a number of clubs have been contacted, and I think there's interest, and it looks very much like Nikola Katic will be on the move, be that back to Ibrox or to England or something over the course of the next few weeks. I hear what Scott says. I don't doubt him. I don't doubt his information. I think that's probably exactly right. But this is coming from the scouting department that gives you a list of really kind of difficult to work out transfer targets over the last 12 months or so. Niels Koppen has not covered himself in glory. There have been arguments, by the way, between Niels Koppen and Philippe Clement about who they should be targeting. I think there might even be a bit of a power battle between the two in terms of who should be getting the final say on transfer targets. If I put it this way, I tell you all day long, if I was Philippe Clement right now, if I've got one ball playing centre half, be that Suter, Balogun's useful with the ball at his feet. I don't know what Proper really does. He certainly doesn't defend. Nikola Katic was an absolute beast, a machine. He was not just good defensively for Rangers in terms of defending his own penalty box, a real threat in the opposition penalty box. Rangers haven't had that in I don't know how long. Katic, for me, he was rapid over the ground, strong in the tackle, I mean, almost impossible to beat in the air, and also gives you that threat in the opposition box. If I've got one like that, I just want the one sitting next to him. He can be the guy that can distribute out for the back. Just give me one that stops, one that plays. And that for me is, I think, once again, we've spoken about this with Rangers, a tendency under Philippe Clement to overcomplicate things. For me, I want my, yes, of course, the modern day central defenders are better if you can, Virgil van Dijk's the full package, can do all the defensive stuff, but can get you moving out from the back. That's what you want. Rangers aren't going to be able to afford to buy Virgil van Dijk or anything like him. So, if you've got one that can play a bit and one that does all the dirty defensive duties, I think that's a pretty good compromise. I would certainly be really interested in it if I was Rangers, but I don't doubt Scotty's information. And by the way, do you know what? It doesn't surprise me.
Well, look, the fans that have written in definitely agree with you, Dave Gibson. I'd have Katic back in a heartbeat. Should never have been forced out in the first place. He wasn't given enough time after his ACL injury. Jim Phillips, Katic, a great defender who gives all for the cause, get him back immediately. Katic is an obvious option, but Clement rarely does the obvious, as we know. And let me just finish with this one from Rangers Easy OK on YouTube. January will be interesting for us. Will the club try to push the boat out to back Clement, which would suggest he's here long term, or will they play it conservative that would suggest Clement will be off in the summer and could give a new manager more funds?
A couple of things to add at this point. I've just had a text through there about this, which makes me kind of even more convinced, not that I doubted them, that we Scotty's information is spot on. But also confirming what I said, that the name has been put to Rangers and that they are very much aware, and that if they want to do a move, the player himself is right up for it.
One thing's for certain, Daniel, they need a centre back in.
But Scott, that's what I was about to say. That the one thing, will the Rangers board push the boat out? I don't think so. I think the noises that I'm hearing, I don't know about you, but the noise I'm hearing is, unless they can raise a bit of unexpected money by selling somebody, it'll be one in for December, and that one will be a centre half. Now Katic's there, obviously throwing his name into the ring, and you've got Johnny Evans as a name that I think Clement has been encouraged to consider. Niels Koppen encouraged to consider. Again, that's another one. For me, Katic would be a better long-term sort of project than a guy that's now 37. But either way, you're talking about two guys that would certainly take care of it and add a bit of steel to the Rangers' defence, and that they really like that.
The problem is, Jacko, I agree. I think it probably will only maybe be one or two, and it'll probably mean people having to go out. But this is a problem for Clement and Rangers now because of the injuries. Because if Balogun, Suter, and Kasim Virgil were all fit and available, he wouldn't be looking at centre backs. If he was bringing one or two in, I was thinking about it today in terms of what Rangers really need. I still think they need a strong, powerful defensive midfielder if they could get one. I know Raskin's come in and done a great job, but I think he's the only one that can really do that job that they're asking him to do. I think they need somebody. I think they need a bit of power in there and a bit of physique. And I think they would also like to get another attacking player in, whether that be a wide player or another striker, probably another wide player with pace, because I think we've all said on here they lack a bit of serious pace in the final third. But that's the issue they've got now, is that this defensive injury crisis is kind of crept up on them, and they now need to deal with it. I mean, you're looking at the game at Dens Park on Thursday night, and I mean, who's playing centre back? I mean, Proper's suspended. You could be looking at Leon King and Clinton and Ciala, a 19-year-old French guy who's not played a first team game, getting in at centre back if Leon Balogun doesn't make himself available after injury. So they're really toiling in there, and I think that's maybe thrown them a bit. The centre back is now a real priority when it probably wasn't 3 or 4 weeks ago. Yeah,
do you know something? I know I'm going off at a tangent here, and I know that I keep clubbing Clement over the head with things that he said, but that's because he said them. I mean, what was it, a year ago, Scott? He started all this chat about, he was going to, I don't know what he thought he was going to do, bring Marvin Andrews into the medical department, but injuries were apparently going to be a thing of the past. This was everybody else's fault, that I've got a string of injuries here. This will never happen again under me. Oh, I'm sorting this in the summer. What a stupid thing it was to say, that he's going to bring in new personnel and that's going to mean Rangers ain't going to have injuries anymore. The injury situation he's got just now is worse than the one that he inherited.
I know, it's crazy. I think they did have a shake-up with the medical department, but
it's not done a lot of good, has it?
Saying it so, how can you possibly predict that?
Aye.
Exactly, that's why it was a silly thing to say. It was just such a silly thing to say, among many silly things to say that have been said over the last 18 months or so. 12.
I'm desperate to bring Des Roach in, guys, but before we do, see just on Johnny Evans, that's got quite a strong reaction on Record Sports social media channels as well. Dave Joyce, we're currently seeing our teams play 3 times every 7 days. Johnny Evans is a has-been and won't last a fortnight. He plays the odd game for United.
I wonder what Dave said when they signed Davy Weir.
Aye, true, I know, it's a good point. Pat says Johnny Evans better off signing Johnny Vegas. I think Johnny Vegas plays right back though. And I even saw Philippe Benkovic, former Celtic player, and Ryan Porteous been linked, but that was Thomas here saying that's not going to happen. So I think plenty of work for Rangers to do this month.
Yeah. The Evans one is Jack was saying about Davy Weir there. I mean, that is a classic kind of Walter Smith, or it would be a classic Walter Smith style.
Well, you could see Walter Smith making that signing all day long, couldn't you?
Davy Weir, Ugo Ehio, people like that who came in and did a job. I mean, Evans would be an obvious one if you could get him short term and loan. I mean, vast experience. Still obviously operating at a really good level. Of course, he's not got the pace he once had, but I mean, he still looks in great nick. And coming from Man U, even if it is short term, I think that, if you're looking to no spend a lot of money, you wouldn't imagine that would be too expensive to do. That for me was the one that I thought they would probably try and do, just to get them over this period until they get Suter and Balogun in particular back.